All right, I got to get busy and get pushed through this, and I start these projects, and I get halfway through, and it's like, Lord, Lord, I want to do something else. What happens when you have ADD? But anyway, these words of wisdom. When I was what I was talking about in the last video, this thing called language, thought, and reality. Uh, I've got a really good book on that, and it just really kind of blew my mind, especially how much differently human beings, how different we can think. Uh, and so, with narratives and with everything that goes on, and trying to find peace in everything is interesting. And but the reality is, if you want peace, you need to prepare for war, and that could mean internally as much as externally, and conditioning yourself for that mind, body, soul. And as you move up in life and mature and gain more responsibility and shine more, become more public or more in the public eye or whatever, there's always that great potential to get more flack too. And but the truth is that nothing feels more peaceful to me than possessing a willingness to go to war with an aptitude and a skill set and a posture to confront whatever shows up in my grill. And that's just from my life experience, bottom line. And that, is mind, body, soul, and just for today. And that's, I keep it all within those parameters. And truly, I know that it's as good a day to die as it is to live. And that's actually a Native American prayer, from part of a Native American prayer. But it's as good as a day to be sick as it is to be well, to love or hate, or to do the work or procrastinate. Today is as good a day for a new beginning or an end. And something else, with that, I was thinking, when I die, do not stand at my grave and weep, because I'm not there, I do not sleep. That's also Native American prayer. And I like that because you can't destroy it. We're energy. You can't destroy energy. You can only change its shape, its form, but it exists forever. So, but the whole thing about about language, thought, and I'm getting a little metaphysical there, but about this whole language, thought, and reality, which is kind of metaphysical. We are what we attend to, and we create our reality by the words we speak. And there's a cat meowing at my door. I'm gonna have to take a break here. Got a cat here. He's like a teenager at this age, at this stage, and so hopefully it doesn't attack my feet while I'm trying to read. Because he's got, I think, Manx or Lynx or something, and where he came from too. It's quite probable. But we are what we attend to, and we create our reality by the words we speak. And there are a lot of people that talk about don't cast spells. Jesus said that it's not what we put into our mouths that defiles us; it's what comes out of our mouths. And so he's really kind of illustrating and emphasizing word power. The Book of James really talks about controlling this because it's so powerful, and somewhere in here that doesn't compute as to how powerful word power is. But as a man thinketh, so he is, and that's that book, James Allen, that was given to me so long ago. And it's a great analogy about our mind and why it needs attention, and if not given proper attention with discipline and exercise like any other organ in the body, it begins to experience atrophy, goes into major decline pretty quick, and then it's susceptible to disease and to poor thinking and aberrated thinking and you name it. But I loved James Allen's analogy about the mind. And here's kind of how it is. I'm kind of paraphrasing in this to kind of break it down. But, the mind is like a fertile field. The mind is, like a garden, a massive garden or, plot where you're going to grow wheat or something, okay? So the mind is like a fertile field. Left unattended, it sprouts everything that blows from the wind. Anything that wind blows any direction, it'll grow it, right? Generally weeds. And those weeds produce the same of their own, and pretty soon they're just choking off all over any kind of native plants that, that were originally there. Maybe plants that were, producing fruit and vegetables and so forth. And in order to deal with this, the field must now be worked, and there's labor involved. The weeds need to be burned to the ground with its seeds, and the soil needs to be turned and turned and turned, and then productive seed put back into the earth. It's going to need air, sunlight, water, fertilization, and a steward to maintain and take care of the development of new growth, to guard and protect the growth, pull those weeds until its fruition. This is work, and consistency is everything in preserving what was once a seed, now all life force of fuel for the body that will continue to produce good seed, more fuel and sustenance, and the garden grows bigger and stronger. This is when it's maintained. This is when it's maintained. And guess what? When it's not maintained, a bunch of weeds will grow up there and choke everything off that maybe shouldn't be. But, and here's the thing again, we're getting back into the word power. This is what I love about James Allen, because, I can visualize that, and like with the 12 steps, it makes it real easy for me to kind of go to, there's different things you need to do in that garden. Sometimes you need to water it, sometimes you need to pull weeds, sometimes, you need to add fertilizer to it, sometimes you need to crop, all these different things, so to speak. And so it's a great analogy, a great way to kind of sort of visualize how, good mental health, what's required in good mental health. And that's, thoughtful reflection, not morbid reflection, balanced reflection, and feeding this thing something more than just the caca that's, being polluting the air. So that's what a good steward does. Whether it's whatever you're doing, your stewardship, your husbandry, if you're not taking care of your surroundings and certain things, it's going to go to kaput pretty quick. So, but we're only as intelligent as we speak, and our inner dialogue and outer dialogue coincide, and words reveal a lot about a person's psyche, for sure, if you pay attention to it, if you like psychology. But this whole thing about language, thought, and reality, reality is shaped by language, okay? And so the language we use literally shapes our reality. That's quite an awakening if you think about that. I mean, that's like, whoa, how enlightening. But it's real. And so ownership of the reality we live in rests upon ourselves. That's kind of our, it's up to us, and only us. And if you're not happy about the reality you live in, perhaps a lesson in sin and syntax is in order. Oh, I thought it might have been a left hook. Anyway, speak differently to yourself. See how differently you become. Speak differently to people and see how differently you become, and how differently people treat you. I mean, what comes around goes around. And we are all but reflections of one another. And what disturbs me or you about others is also a reflection of a fragmented, disavowed, disowned self. Uh, More psychology. We get what we give in life, period. I'll read that again. We get what we give in life, period. And the reason why is this is a universal axiom. We receive what we project on others. We cannot judge without being judged. And who is qualified for that monkey business? Not me, although I try. Um, there's room for improvement. When you begin to see the beauty and magic in others without envy, jealousy, fear, etc., you become beautiful and magical too. It's ipso facto by the very nature of the case. Beauty is always in the eye of the beholder, and ugly is all the way to the bone. But the choice is always ours, and the universe always delivers. So be careful what you pray for and what you attend to with your mind, truly. And when you begin to understand these basic things about the brain and how it works, that mind, uh, magical things do happen. It's called having executive function and ownership. It's like, I know who's selling the ship. Well, most of the time, got 2 brain cells left, pretty sure of that, maybe 3. But I don't think any of them are shaking hands half the time. And so, yeah, it's good for me to weed that garden and tend to that field and pay attention to what is coming out of my mouth, because it's so easy. It's so easy to that self will run riot, and just that's what I'm learning to work on, and I'm sure the Book of James kind of tuned me up with that a little bit, but it's true. It's true. We are what we attend to, how we think. We create our own realities. We can be miserable. We can be happy. Life is painful, but misery is optional, and the choice is always ours. We can live in the problem, or we can live in the solution. Both are painful, but one has a better end result. So choose your poison. Anyway, I think I'm done. I got other things to do, like work. Boy. Life's meaning shifts in so many